This is the Funhang electric bike. I've had this for a bit now, and a few people ask me about it. So here's my take. The first thing I noticed is it feels like a lot of bike. It's not one of those super light e-bikes you can casually pick up with one hand. The frame on mine is carbon steel, and you can feel that in the weight and also in how steady it feels when you're rolling. When I'm riding on rust pavement or cracked sidewalks, it doesn't feel twitchy. It kind of just tracks straight and takes the hits without feeling flimsy. Mine is the 26-inch version with 21 speeds, and I've mostly used it for regular streets, some packed dirt trails, and a few stretches of gravel. I'm not doing extreme mountain stuff, but I do hit potholes, random curb cutouts, and those uneven trail sections that make a normal bike feel sketchy. The front suspension helps there. It's not the kind of suspension that turns everything into a smooth floating ride, but it takes the sharp edge off bumps, so my hands and shoulders aren't getting hammered. Power-wise, it has a 500-watt motor with 1,000-watt peak, and the top assisted speed I've seen lines up with the listed 21.7 miles per hour. In real use, what that means for me is it gets up to speed without me feeling like I'm mashing the pedals from a dead stop. If I'm at a stop sign and traffic is coming, I can get moving confidently. Hills are where I notice it the most. On a regular bike, I'd be downshifting and grinding, and on this one I still pedal, but I'm not struggling the whole way up. It doesn't feel like a motorcycle or anything, it just feels like I've got help. The battery on my setup is the 48V 374.4 watt-hour removable pack. Real range is always a touchy topic, because it depends on how you ride, how much you weigh, wind, hills, tire pressure, all of it. For me, doing a mix of pedal assist and some throttle bursts, I'm usually thinking in the 25 to 40 mile zone before I start getting conservative. If I'm riding harder with more throttle and higher assist, it drops. If I keep it chill and actually pedal like I'm supposed to, it stretches out. Charging has been straightforward. I bring the battery inside and charge it there. That's honestly one of my favorite practical things about it, because I don't have an outlet where I park the bike. The LCD display is simple. I mainly use it to check speed, battery bars, and what assist level I'm in. Nothing fancy, but I don't really want fancy on a bike like this. I just want it readable in daylight and not confusing while I'm moving, and it's been fine for that. Riding modes are there if you want them. Most of the time I'm just riding with pedal assist and occasionally using the throttle when I'm starting from a stop or crossing an intersection. Cruise mode works, but I don't use it a ton because my routes have too many stops and turns. Booster mode is more of a walk the bike up something helper, and I've only used that once when I was pushing it up a steep section and didn't feel like wrestling the weight. Braking is mechanical dual disc brakes. They stop the bike, and that's the main thing. I did have some noise at the beginning, especially when everything was brand new. After a bit of riding and some minor adjustment, it calmed down. I'll be honest though, if you've ridden bikes with hydraulic brakes, mechanical brakes can feel a little more hands-on. You might end up tweaking them once in a while to keep them feeling right. The fenders are actually useful. I didn't think I'd tear, but the first time I rode after it rained, I was glad they were there. There's also an LED headlight and reflectors, and it has an electric horn system. I still use my own lights sometimes, depending on where I'm riding, but having built-in light helps if I'm caught out later than I planned. Setup was mostly okay, but it wasn't a 5-minute job. It came mostly assembled, but I still had to take my time getting the front end lined up, making sure the brakes weren't rubbing, and double-checking bolts. If you've built a bike before, it's manageable. If you've never touched bike tools, it's doable, but plan some time and be patient. I watched a video guide, and that helped more than just staring at the paper instructions. Over time, a couple little things stood out. The bike's weight is the one you feel in real life. If you're carrying it upstairs or lifting it into a car, that's where it becomes a chore. If you're storing it in a garage or rolling it straight out of a shed, it's not a big deal. Another thing is, the 21-speed drivetrain is nice to have, but like any geared bike, it shifts best when you ease off pressure a bit. If you're pushing hard with assist and you slam gears, it's not going to feel smooth. Compared to a smaller commuter-style e-bike I borrowed from a friend, this one feels more stable and more planted, but also less convenient to move around by hand. The smaller bike was easier to carry and park, but it felt less confident on rough patches. So it's kind of that trade, stability and sturdiness versus portability. Before I bought it, the things I worried about were safety and battery stuff. Mine is UL 2271 and UL 2849 certified, which doesn't make it invincible, but it did make me feel better about charging it inside. I still don't leave it charging overnight unattended, just because that's my personal habit with anything that has a big battery. Who is it actually good for? If you want an e-bike for commuting, running errands, or riding around town with some trails mixed in, and you don't need to carry it upstairs every day, it makes sense. It's also a good fit if you're a taller or heavier rider since it's rated up to 300 pounds and it doesn't feel delicate. If you live in a walk-up apartment or you need something you can easily lift into a trunk all the time, I'd think hard about the weight before going this route. Overall, I've been using it like a normal person bike. Quick rides, longer loops on weekends, occasional dirt paths, and it's been reliable for me. It's not perfect, and it's not effortless, but it does what I expected once I got it set up and dialed in. To learn more about the Funhang electric bike for adults, please check the comments section.